Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Ahura Z, and this is Kazi. Welcome to Ask the Unicorn. I will answer any questions that are pertaining to the metaphysical, the spiritual, the paranormal, and the mystical. However, there are two types of questions that I do not answer, and that is whether or not someone's going to die or whether or not someone is cheating. I don't think they're fair, and I think that they give undue paranoia, and I won't be party to that. However, if you have any other questions about either of those categories, please feel free. I am your answer person. We try to bring peace to your mind and to give you all the answers that you need. And my studies have been extensive. I am a natural telepath, so I'm privy to a lot of things that most people do not. Now, that being said, the unicorn is in. Now, we'd like to start off the show by talking about some things. I am an independent filmmaker, and I am also affiliated with a group of independent filmmakers that are very, very talented, that are very diligent in their creativity. There are people like Seth Roberts, there are Bill McLean, Alan Dillingham, Gary Hauger, and a number of others that are in the New England area. Most of the ones that I mentioned are, in fact, all of the ones that I mentioned are in Maine. And we are working very diligently to bring you good entertainment. The company that I have is Unicobia Pictures, and we're working on a film right now that is called Falkir. We are nearing the completion of Falkir, and it is a movie about 4 different women that are taken from different time periods by the gods at the moment of their demise and given the opportunity to either meet their fate or become legendary creatures known as Valkyrie. They get training, they get talented, and they get very, very powerful and strong, and they save the world.
Seth says hi.
What's up, Seth? How you doing, bro? Seth Roberts, as a matter of fact, is working on a film right now that is called Bad Kid, and I'm looking for it to come out and be very, very cool. I'm also in another one of his films with Alan Dillingham, and I can't divulge the name of that film right now, but we'll get the name to you very, very soon. And it promises also to be a very exciting film, and I'm very excited about being in it. Now, that being said, it is imperative that we all go out and support our independent filmmakers. Hollywood's got enough money. Don't support them anymore. No, I can't say that. What I can say is please support your local filmmakers first before you go and support Hollywood. Oh yeah, speaking of, we went to see the movie Exodus, and I kind of gave it a little bit of a review on Facebook. However, I'm going to talk to you all right now. The movie cinematically was beautiful. I mean, the special effects were awesome. We saw it in 3D, and that's always very, very exciting because 3D isn't what it used to be. But the movie had wonderful effects, just like they threw tons and tons and tons of money on the effect. However, the story, mundane, uncreative, generic, and pretty much just, it just wasn't very good. Not only that, they took away from the original story. If you've ever read the Ten Commandments or even seen the early depictions of the Ten Commandments or the whole drama of the Ten Commandments, I found, as I said, I found myself wishing that Charlton Heston would just magically appear and show them how to act. You know, it was just very, very bad. I'm sorry. The cast, I gave the acting, and I gave the, except for Ben Kingsley. Okay, Ben Kingsley he's always awesome. Sigourney Weaver's just hot. But,
she didn't even
she had like 3 lines.
She had 3 lines. Okay, wait, I have to rant about this. I'm gonna rant. Can I rant?
No.
Why?
Go ahead, go ahead. Go ahead.
The first half hour, you just gonna keep doing that?
Yes, I am.
The whole time I talk?
Yes. Go ahead.
The first half hour or so was really difficult to get into because, one, it's supposed to be Egypt. The cast is all British or some
Irish,
kind of, you know, European
Scottish
accent, and they were all very fair-skinned.
Not only that, but most of them talked like this.
You know, and yeah.
I think that Wait, Christian Bale as Moses
he had
just did not work.
No, he had different accents throughout the whole.
Yeah.
Like, pick one.
I mean, Christian Bale as Moses. I think at one time he turned into Batman.
He did.
Yeah, because he was you know. But they then and John Turturro as the Pharaoh, really.
But he wasn't really as distracting as.
Yes, he was. All I could hear was, "I fear you're underestimating the sneakiness." I like feet.
Oh yeah, I like feet.
You know, it just seemed as though I had to give the cast a 1.5 maybe. And the depiction of God, they turned into a little British boy who sounded like I thought he was a male version of the little girl.
Alice.
The little robot girl Alice, in Resident Evil, the program.
What was her name? She had
the Red Queen.
Red Queen.
You know, yes. But and they showed the burning bush, but it kind of took everything away. They took all of the magic out of it. You know, they tried to make everything look mundane. You know, such as the.
Okay, but a blue.
I said the blue flame. They did show the blue flame, but. The blue flame didn't have anything to do with anything. It was just like it was a burning bush. Like the person the little boy that was supposed to be God was a little blonde-haired, blue-eyed boy. Huh?
He set the bush on fire.
Yeah, he was supposed to set the bush on fire.
Is that what that? Oh, that's what they were trying to say.
Because he had nothing better to do. But because he was a pyro.
Yeah.
But
blue flame.
Yeah, I gave the storyline a 3 and the cast a 1. Maybe 2 because of Ben Kingsley and Sigourney Weaver. But I was very disappointed in the story in the film. They really didn't have to. But it was Ridley Scott, and Ridley Scott is known for kind of missing the mark here and there. You know he's almost as bad as Shyamalan.
You know, it's bad when RottenTomatoes.com gives Exodus Rotten Tomatoes gave the Penguins of Madagascar movie a higher score than Exodus. What does that say? Ouch.
Well, Rotten Tomatoes gave a higher score at Madagascar than a lot of movies, but I really don't go by Rotten Tomatoes. I go by my own eyes. And, you know, had they given me half of the money, 1/4 of the money that they gave Ridley Scott, I could have did a better job.
Seth says, he says, Ron St. Hilaire says hi and happy holidays and Main Movies Rock. Seth says, I want to make a dark version of Alice in Wonderland based on American McGee's Alice video game. That would be amazing.
that would be awesome.
And we know just the girl for that. Adriana.
Oh, God.
She would fit.
I have your Alice I know your Alice when you're ready. That would be awesome, actually.
Or Amanda.
Maybe we should do some of those movies right. That would be cool. Yeah. You know, so please support your local filmmakers, okay? We could really use the help. We need things like lights. We need microphones. We need newer cameras. We need, well, not really newer cameras, just better cameras. We need more equipment. And you know something? Seth, I'm going to tell you this. I am working on finding a huge building. If I got the deal that those people got with Main Studios, I would have made it work. Okay? I would have made it work. And I'm looking for something like that. So the Main filmmakers have a place a big studio to do their things, and we can build our own sets and all that kind of stuff. I'm serious. I'm going to make it happen.
Seth says, to your response about the Wonderland, Alice in Wonderland video game movie, that would be great. I should stop by sometime.
Told you, dude. You're always welcome. Yeah, I have that game, by the way. That's an awesome game. Okay, so let's go ahead. Cool. Awesome.
We don't have any questions. Michelle Ayot says hi.
Hi, Michelle.
Maven says hi.
Hi, Maven. Okay, well, cool. Then I can talk about whatever. I can talk about whatever I want to. I'm sorry, I'm speaking a little fast. Now, as far as the movies go, I'm also going to be working on, after we finish Falcare the movie, I'm going to be working on Falcare the series. And I'm going to do a weekly series because, you know, I was raised on series types of things, you know, and you can probably see it in my form of movie making. You know, I'm a very epic-minded person, but at the same time, I hate it when the movie that is really, really good ends. So I figure if I want to keep something going, then I have to do a series, you know, and I am really looking forward to doing that. You know, weekly series, it takes nothing to write, you know, just nothing. And I actually wrote stuff, you know. But it's going to turn out great.
Where did you
get? I got it finished.
Did you got all of the goddesses in there?
Oh, no. I have to do episodes. You know, there's no way you can put everything into a film. You know, I can introduce different people. I've decided to settle on just a few of the goddesses for Falcare the movie, and then with the series I'll be able to do episodes of each one of the goddesses and gods. And that would be awesome. Yeah. Now, last week we talked a little bit about some of the things that have been happening with our country as far as the protests and things like that. I'm gonna kind of go a different route this time. Listen, we know what our rights are, and we know what we expect from our law enforcers. If you know that you're being treated unfairly, there are ways to do it. Burning, pillaging, looting, crashing things, breaking things, causing immeasurable damage to things and violence and all that kind of stuff. It doesn't work. I'm just going to say it just doesn't work. You know, the best thing to do is, like I said, you hit them in their wallet. That's the best thing that we can do. You hit them where it matters. You know, women, I have to make an appeal to you all. A lot of us guys don't get taught how to be compassionate necessarily. You know, we get taught to use this. We get taught to fight, and many times in the wrong way. If you know that you are, and now I have to open the whole field. If you know that you are associating with a person that is a racist, I don't care if you're married to them. I don't care if they're your brother, your sister, your mother, father, son, daughter, whatever, aunt, uncle, I don't care. If you know that you are associating with a person that is a racist, you are being part of the problem. You must either decide to educate that person or tell them, if you can, that they need to step off, change or step off. And women, I have to say this to you, because you know, my teacher was a woman. She's the one who helped me to hone my gifts, okay? And I expect great things from women. I just do. You know, when I hear that a woman is being unintelligent, it really disappoints me. You know, I expect those guys to do dumb stuff. We do it all the time. It's like, we have to like stop the marbles in our head before we actually do things really, really good. But you don't date a guy that you know is a racist. Do you understand me? You just don't do it. Okay? Because once that person gets rid of all of the people that he deems are not as good as him, guess who he's going to start on? And no, you're not going to change him. Not unless you do something drastic. I was watching this thing today about a man who decided that it should be a law that women should have to ask clear it with their abuser if they get pregnant to have an abortion. As a guy, I really don't have a say-so. Sorry. I mean, I can discuss it with the woman if, you know, there's someone that is having my child and she's notified me that she's pregnant, we can discuss it, and hopefully, if that's what I want, I can convince her. But there doesn't need to be a law to something like that. That's like, first off, nobody owns anybody here. own anybody, and nor does anybody own me.
That's right.
You know, shut up. I own you.
No, you don't. Nuh-uh.
You know, whatever. You know, but I'm just saying, you know, if you know that you're dating someone that is an abuser, you can't sit up and talk about how hard of a freaking day he had, or you know, oh, he's just like that, or that's the way he was raised. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. Listen, I'll tell you. My family, my biological family, has strong racist tendencies. Some of them. I don't associate with them. I don't care who they are. There has to be a point in time where we serve racism notice and say we are not going to tolerate it. There has to be a point in time where we serve those people that are out there bullying people notice and say that it won't be tolerated. There must be a point in time where we decide to band together and say, no, we do not want this in our community. We do not want this in our country. We do not want this in our household. We do not want it in our lives, and we don't want it in our minds. But listen, going out and destroying property and calling that a protest is a lie. That's not a protest. That's just you looking for an excuse to vent your anger. And I understand anger well, believe me. I understand rage. But there comes a point in time where we have to stand up like men and women that love this country. True, sometimes we may not love who's running it, but we love this country. And we love our homes, and we love our families, and we love those people that are dear to us. And guess what? We all need each other. So all that racism crap, it needs to go away, and we need to force it to go away. They talk about it all the time. Well, we need to have some discussions about race. No, we don't. We don't need any discussions about race. I'm tired of talking about it. All it does is lure out a bunch of trolls that say things like, oh, he's pulling the race card. Well, listen, if you didn't stack the deck, there wouldn't be any race cards. You don't want anybody to pull the race card? Quit dealing a crappy hand. As a matter of fact, why don't we just throw away the deck? Bottom line is this. It is time for us people that choose to say no to racism to stand apart from those people that insist on keeping it. I don't care who they are. Don't just let it go. Don't just say, oh, that person's just that way. You say, no. If you're going to be that way, I don't want you in my house. If you're going to be that way, no, 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 absolutely not. I will not have lunch with you. I will not sit and talk with you. You will change or get away from me. There's a point in time. You know what that does to everyone's energy to have that kind of thing lagging around? It creates a huge karma bomb. Do you understand? That's what makes it my business. It makes it my business when people are affected spiritually or energetically, and sometimes physically. Racism is a horrible energy. Bullying is a horrible energy. They go hand in hand. And I have to say this. Again, I support the police department and the profession of law enforcement. I always have, I always will. However, those people that are cowards wearing badges, shame.
Seth says, I agree with you. We also have to stop labeling such as African American or Asian American and just be American.
That's right. Absolutely.
Ron St. Hilaire says, you hit the nail on the head, Z.
Well, thank you. And if we're all hitting the nail on the head, maybe we'll just hammer some things that need to be hammered. You know what I mean? You're right. We are all American in this country. All of that separation, it can't be tolerated anymore. You can't say to someone, well, you're African American, and knowing that your ancestry is from Germany, and not say, well, you're German American. Why not just do away with the whole thing? We're American. For God's sake, we're American. This is the 21st century. We are 14 years into the 21st century. 14 years. Well, it's 15 years. That's amazing. See, my family is huge. My family is every single color on the face of this earth. And some mixed stuff. You see my daughter. See my wife. See me. There's no such thing as, we can't tolerate that. There's no such thing as being separate from each other. What is that? Seriously. So, that being said, you see my rant is a little different this week. You know. So, are there any questions at all?
We have a few.
What have you got?
Let's see. Michelle asks, I was wondering if you could explain juxtaposition again and why it is always being shown to me. It's fun, but it's like someone always being there pointing things out to me.
Well, what juxtaposition is when two or three different, or even a bunch of different lines of reality cross. Okay? They're juxtaposed. Okay? Which means that they're right on each other, which means that they blend. That's a juxtaposition. Okay? And they meet right at a nexus. And that nexus is the culmination of both of those realities. So, and why that's happening to you is probably because you're increasing in your development and intelligence. And it's time for you to get back on your training. That's exactly why. See, listen, training doesn't, your need for development doesn't stop because you think that you're taking a break consciously. This world goes on with or without us. And so does those things that are expected of you by the universe. Life happens, and it goes on, and it goes on, and it goes on. You might as well be a part of it. Okay? Where's those things? Hand me those games over there. Yeah. Hey Seth, I'm bringing you these Saturday. All 4 of them. And any others that I can find. It's got PlayStation 3.
Saturday?
Well, yeah, I have to film on Saturday.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, we'll film here and then we'll film there. Then I film there for his movie. So, just letting you know. Put those on.
Okay.
Now, I hope that helps you out, Michelle.
You didn't name them.
Huh?
You should have named them.
I told him already
You
what they
told
are.
them what they were? Okay.
Yeah.
Alright. We have another question from Ron St. Hilaire. What makes people...
Hillary.
Hillary? Hillary? I thought it was Hillary. Okay. What makes people lose their minds and shoot people?
Well, that's a good question.
He means mass shootings, like in Pakistan. They walked in.
Yeah, that's a good question. Actually, I'll explain that. When a person goes through that, they may not be seeing exactly what we see. They may be stuck in a almost like a parallel, like they're seeing something totally different than what you and I see on a daily basis. That could be because of a trauma. It could be because of programming. It could be because of a way or indoctrination. All of those things alter a person's reality. As a matter of fact, a person can even have an accident, and all of a sudden their perception will shift. So when a person does that, that's almost like there's a schism or a crack, and in that crack, oftentimes there can be another type of an entity that will enter that person's consciousness and cause them to do something, or make it so convincing to them that they have to do it. They're compelled to do it. You know, that happens in our country a lot. You know, it just does. Not just in Pakistan. It happens here a lot. Sometimes people never heal from traumas that they're faced with. You can push a person to a level that they will just crack. They will break. Their line of thinking will just snap, and they will do anything hoping that their consciousness will return back to normal. Unfortunately, it doesn't really come back to normal. What it does is it breaks further. This is what we call an aberration. That aberration explodes and it becomes this mutated form of their mind. So they do things like, you would reach for this cup. Well, that person would see that cup, and the moment they reached for it, it would take another shape. So they would just react, and something else would happen. And we like to think, because if you're on the outside of, or you've never been traumatized at all, this is what you will think. You will think that that person is going, they must be crazy, or you know, they're on drugs, or they're going through some emotional depression. That's not what it is. What it is they're stuck. They're stuck in this world that just repeats itself over and over and over again until it builds and it builds and it builds and it builds and it builds, and they just have to do something. So what they do is get that world or that perception out of the way so that they can return. The problem is it doesn't really return. It's like a bunch of people screaming at you at the same time that you can't punch. So what you do is you reflexively lash out at something that you feel is solid. That may not be solid, but this is solid, or that is solid. And by doing that, it's almost like your body needs to feel like you need to have some validation that you're here and that it's here. And it needs to go back to normal. So you do these things trying to make it back to normal. Other times it's because the person is just angry at something and they're doing revenge, and then they do something and they say, well, I've already done it, so I might as well go all the way. And that's their reasoning. There's so many things that can cause a person to snap. You have no idea what can set a person off, especially if they've been traumatized before. Most times when a person is sitting up in the clock tower shooting at someone, it's because something happened to cause them to snap. And it could be something astral, it could be something etheric, it can be something physical. For instance, let's take anybody that's been traumatized or with PTSD. People like that have gone through something, and when they go through something, their whole consciousness lifts up to that level, and it stays there. Now, with most people, a fight or flight mechanism activates and then it goes away. But there can only be so much of that before it goes, and it stays this way because it knows it is going to be that. So it stays and it begins to vibrate because it's trying to go back to normal, but it can't. It's lost its way. So what happens is that person stays in this mode, like this, even though they're trying to cope, and they hold themselves. And they'll hold themselves, and they'll finally get a hold of it, and unfortunately, they'll go to a place or something will happen or someone will say something, or someone will wear something, or they'll get a smell, or they'll hear or feel something that causes this earthquake that just goes, and they're holding on for dear life, and then someone says, "Oh, how you doing?" And it's not that they meant it. Not that they meant it at all. But it happens. So most of them, and I know a few, that spend their entire lives avoiding this, avoiding that. Oh no, no, I can't, no, I can't do that. So what we do, you should just shift things out of the way so you don't have to think about them. And if you don't have to think about them, you start to build up a wall. And sometimes it's better to leave a person's wall alone. Other times I fault therapists that try to break a person's walls down because they don't know how. Most therapists don't have a clue about trauma. They think they do because they read a book or someone quoted from that guy who had problems with his own life. What's his name? Freud. Oh yeah. You know. But anything can cause a person to do that if they've already been traumatized. Other times, the first time of the trauma itself is enough to cause a person to break. Nightmares can stick with a person. Believe me, they can stick with a person. A nightmare can make you feel as though even God doesn't like you. And at that point, you feel as though you got nothing to lose. So that's the end result. Then, because at that point, something else takes over inside you. And hopefully it's not an astral or a demonic energy. But it does happen. So yeah. It's not just normal human consciousness to want to destroy a bunch of people. So you have to question where that consciousness is coming from. I've tried to best answer your question in a small segment. That type of question takes like a week to answer. You know, what causes a person to do that? I've seen so much stuff, man. Seriously. I've gone through so much stuff. You know, but I have seen so much. And I watched people break. It was not pretty. The last thing you do with a person that is going through such things is take your eyes off of them or try to challenge them. Best thing for you to do is listen sometimes to what's going on. If you know someone that's going through that type of a thing, find out what's really going on with them. Let them talk. They'll tell you eventually. You can't rush them. You just listen. But that's what causes it. On the mystical end, there are all kinds of things that will cause that. But this is where the lines of mysticism and mundania are very, very blurry. I never take it jokingly entirely when a person says that they want to do something like that. In my life, I have seen way too much to just take it jokingly. So, hopefully we will get to a point where everyone's trauma will be relieved and it will be removed. It is a process, kind of like peeling an onion. You can't expect someone to give up something all at once. It has to be peeled a little bit at a time. Most people that are going through things that will cause them to do things like that don't even remember what they've gone through. Or they have other memories that they can't account for. Just that way. You be there, be supportive, and always be strong. I hope that helps.
Cool. And let's see, we have some feedback. Michelle says, thanks a bunch, and no, it hasn't given me a break, only increasing a little at a time.
Good.
And let's see. Seth says, awesome, it looks like I'll be busy for a while.
Yeah.
With the games.
Yeah.
In regards to the games.
Yeah.
This is sweet. I'm going to be very busy for a while. And let's see.
Especially with folklore.
Yeah, that's an awesome game. Ron St. Hilaire says, thanks, that is some deep stuff.
Yeah, it is pretty deep.
Barbara Flag says, I have learned, she's asking a question. I have learned that poltergeists are created by humans, but once created, have their own separate consciousness. Is this true?
They are not all created by humans, no. As a matter of fact, 90% of them are not. Do you know what poltergeist means? Poltergeist merely means noisy ghost. That's exactly what it means. Okay? The movies did something entirely different. You know, what the movies were actually talking about were phantoms. That's a different type of a thing. A poltergeist usually is very, very harmless. It's just we humans are the ones that get very, very frightened by things. You know, a poltergeist is a proverbial in the night. Okay? That's just the truth of it. They don't all have to have been human. They could be animal, they can just be an energy signature that constantly builds and poof, and then it explodes and does something. It can cause little flashy lights, but there's always sound accompanying it. Hence the term, noisy ghost. Doesn't mean unrestful spirit, or that's just... There are other things that you need to look out for that cause havoc. Most of the time a poltergeist just does little mischievous things, not even anything seriously. But if you go and you tick it off, there's no telling what could happen. Like a lot of these ghost hunters will do, is they'll go and challenge something that they have absolutely no understanding of. You know, I always tell them, what are you going to do if it shows up? If it shows up and you're the one who challenged it, don't come running to me. You know, like a lot of them do, you know. And of course, if someone came to me, I would help them, but still, you know, that should teach a person a lesson. You know, you don't go and slap the devil just because you felt like it, you know. What you do is you leave well enough alone. If you know that you're out of your league, don't go in with some false bravado saying, come on out, spirit, you know, because it might. You know? But literally, that's what poltergeist is, and they can be created, they can be created for many, many things, even an energy signature. Good question. Hope that helped you. What's next?
That's it.
Is that it? Wow.
Questions, feel free to... I was saying that relatives of mine had lived in a noisy house.
Well, we live in a noisy house.
No, like more action than ours. Ours, the people here have, we all have a mutual understanding, but
yes, that's true.
In my relative's house.
You know, that brings up a good point. You know that most of you have ghosts in your home. I would dare say all of you do. You just don't know it. You know, you can make an agreement with them. You can actually negotiate with them, and most of them are very, very willing to negotiate. If you find someone that doesn't want to be bothered, leave them alone if they're not causing any trouble. If they are causing trouble, then learn how to get rid of them. And if you can, I'll help you. But you can actually negotiate with them, and they like it when you talk to them like they're actual people. You know, not like ghosts. You know, you can actually you can actually speak to them. You can ask them to do things like protect your household. You can ask them, can you at least do us? I don't mind you being here. Just please don't cause anybody any trouble. And if you can see your way to do it, can you help protect the household? Mm-hmm. Protect the house and all of the people that reside here. If you happen to catch an energy of a person that comes near here or in here that does not belong here or does not jive with everyone here, you can do whatever you'd like as long as, you know, you're not hurting anyone here. And you know what? They will do exactly that. They will look out for your house. Mm-hmm. They will look out for your family. Nobody ever thinks of that, you know, that they just want to be, a lot of them just want to be useful and harmonious, like we all do. Instead, people say, I saw a little girl! And you know what's funny thing? It's always a little girl. It's like, all of the ghosts are a little girl. And I've sat and looked at these little boys going, you know, yeah. I said, no, that's a boy. And I've described the little boy to a person. I say, as a matter, and, you know, she had a son, but I'd never met the son. And I said, this boy looks like this, and this. And most of the time they will emulate the child that's in the house. So you have a son, and he looks just like this kid, sandy brown hair, blah 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 blah. She goes, yeah. So when we met him, I said, yeah, looks just like him. You know, so be open. Just be open. I don't, you know, walk around the house doing this airy fairy thing, you know, that a lot of people do, you know, thinking that the spirit of Cleopatra is living with them, and
or they're the reincarnation of Cleopatra.
You know, it might just be a cat. Might be a dog or even a bug. You know, just at least act as though they lived at some point in time. They lived physically at some point in time. You'd be amazed at what you said. I remember we were out at, was it Starbucks, and I was sitting in the car. This shopping cart, I kid you not, this actually happened. And I didn't have my camera that day, of course. This shopping cart moved back from a car, turned around and rolled, and then rolled the other way, and rolled and almost ran into this car, but it stopped. And I said, ha! She stopped it. There was this girl, and she was riding the cart, and she stopped just before, and I looked and said, oh, she stopped it. Just before it hit the car. And she looked over at me and went, and she ran off, and I said, bye. And who was in the car with me? Sonari was in the car with me. And she says, did you see that? And I said, well, yeah. She just came over and said, you know, waved and said hi. You know, if you just understand that the different dimensional realities are all one, it's just levels of tangibility that we deal with. We live in a third dimensional reality, so we give more credence to this. As a telepath, I see a little different. You know, so if you can start talking to the energy in your home like it's actually part of your home, and that it is part of your energy, and you live there, and that energy lives there, and you can all get along with each other, you'd be amazed at what happens and what you can see. So, just a thought.
And if they talk too loud while you're trying to sleep, and you just politely say, "Can you please move to another room or turn, not talk so loudly?" They'll be oh, okay.
And this is actually the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we live in a very old home. And we used to live in a funeral home, old funeral home.
Oh, that one was...
Yeah, that was fun.
That was awesome. So many new people all the time.
And you know, I loved that house. And if I can, I will get it back.
Well, okay. Barbara says, yes, it has helped. Thank you. And Maureen Larson says, She wanted to say thanks for validating you'll quit when you're ready. 82 days, no cigs, no cigarettes. Good job. Yay.
Congratulations.
That's great.
Keep going.
I hope you feel awesome. And Barbara Flag asks another question. Do you believe a whole area can be haunted, such as a town? I lived in a town, and wherever I moved, I had experiences. I moved out of the town, and the activity has subsided.
Of course. There are whole towns that are haunted. I would love to do things like go to Japan, where they have whole towns that have been just left because they were haunted. in Thailand, and even in parts of the United States. You know, I would love to go there and just do what I can do there. I've been to a whole forest area that was known as the Devil's Tramping Ground. Oh, extremely haunted. Very, very haunted. You know, there are so many places and so many whole cities that are haunted. As a matter of fact, Portland, Maine is pretty haunted. Very, very haunted.
Yeah.
And so is, what's that place?
New York City.
No, in Maine.
Maine.
No. Freiburg? Freiburg.
Freiburg?
Yeah, it was pretty haunted.
Fort Knox?
Fort Knox is, oh, that's not.
Freiburg? When did we go to Freiburg?
Fort Knox is pretty haunted, just not like, it's more localized.
Freiburg.
Yeah, Freiburg.
The house we went to?
Mm-hmm. There. And there's Westbrook, and parts of Westbrook, Gorham. In fact, this whole region is fairly very haunted. Yeah, I wanted to check out that place called the Deserts of Maine. It's not haunted at all. Not really. I mean, not what you would like to call haunted. Now, I have to say this. There's this kind of a fad that, you know, people do in Halloween. They go to what they call haunted houses. And I know what a haunted house is. When you go to a place where they do things, there's this site where they do things like put people in coffins and tie them up and see how scared they can make them. That's not haunted. That's torture. There's a difference.
That's messed up in the
head.
You
gotta know the difference between torture and haunted. Okay? You know, when you go to a place that is haunted, or when you discover that you're in a place that is haunted, it has very little to do with you being tied up and someone coming after you with a chainsaw. Mm-hmm. Seriously. Okay? Theatrics.
They would get...
If I designed a haunted house, yeah, that would be haunted. And, you know, it's about what's not there that you really want to watch out for. So, there's so many things. There whole regions can be haunted. If you really want to be specific about it, I would say that most of the United States is haunted. Look at how many ghosts and spirits there are. How many people died here.
Yeah, especially in the...
How many angry people died here too.
Yeah, in Maine, and all of the New England, on the East Coast of the Underground Railroad.
Oh yeah. And not only that, look at the place that the Oklahoma bombing happened. Look at what they call Ground Zero in New York. That whole region is very, very haunted. Very, very, the activity is very, very not settled. I don't care what anybody says. There's a lot of people, no, well, we did the ceremony. That's good that you did the ceremony. It probably helped. But there is a huge rift that is still there. Huge. There's lots of places. The earth itself will help heal that if it gets a chance to. Yeah, that's Hiroshi.
He's having a good time hanging out.
As a matter of fact, we can introduce Hiroshi. Go get him.
Okay, sure. Barbara Flag says that she said her son is a funeral director, laughing out loud.
Yeah, I know a few of them.
That's awesome. Oh, Lane, relax.
I knew a few morticians that you know, a while ago did some performances with, and because you know I'm a musician and I was touring and did some performances, and I had to do a performance at a convent, and there was and I love nuns, by the way. When I was little, I said I was going to marry a nun. But, and I met this group of musicians that were morticians that were performing, at the same time as we were.
Oh, it's your friend. Hey, it's your friend.
So, I want to introduce you guys to someone. This is Kazi's new friend. This is Hiroshi. This is, hey buddy, how you doing?
I can hear everybody going, ooh, oh, Ling's so jealous.
Laying down.
So jealous.
This is Hiroshi. Say hi, Hiroshi. Say hi, pretty boy. Say hi, down. Say hi, pretty boy. Hi, who's your pretty boy? Look at him. He's huge. What is he? 12 weeks? 13 weeks?
He's a little over 3 months.
3 months old. No, he's not.
Yeah, born in September 11th.
Oh, is he?
And it's...
Thank you.
Ling. Come here, Ling. Ling.
He's a pretty boy.
Ling.
Look at him. He looks like a giant bear.
Seth says, what an adorable teddy bear. Come here, Ling. Ling's jealous. She gets jealous.
That's Ling. That's I introduced Ling.
You can't see
this
her.
is my baby girl.
Oh, there she is.
Yep, that's my baby girl.
Hiroshi's such an attention hog.
Yeah, he is.
You wouldn't believe it. This is pretty girl Ling. And there she goes. He's my teddy gram.
Ling, down. Good, so I thought you all might want to meet him. He eats everything.
We call him, Z calls him Yum Yum. And if the computer just turned off.
He's got the greatest face.
Yeah, his eyes look like they're half closed all the time, and he looks like he's looking from the top of his eyes. Because his eyes are so squinty.
I love chows. I love chow chows.
The computer will not turn on. There he goes.
Here, he wants you.
Oh, hi. Hold on. I gotta log back into my computer.
So, are there any other questions at all?
Yes. Michelle Ayat asks, the other day I had a vision of a mailbox on a patch of grass. I also heard, pray for me. Not quite sure of who or what I'll come across, but I guess I'll pray. Any thoughts?
Well, why don't you just pray for everyone? Pray for all of us. Then you won't miss. Everyone can use prayer from time to time. Isn't that right? Isn't that right, pretty boy?
Seth says, is that a dog or a plushy stuffed animal? He's way too cute.
Yeah. I'm not sure myself. But he moves.
We think he's the teddy, the Snuggles bear from what's the Dawn Laundry? No.
Okay.
Downy.
No,
Laundry.
it's Snuggles.
Snuggles. Yes, Snuggles, the Snuggle bear. Snuggles.
Here, take him.
Barbara says, I lived in a farmhouse that I kept hearing knocking at my door. I kept running down to answer it until I finally gave up. What were they trying to tell me?
Okay.
Oh, you know Ling's like super jealous now.
Go ahead and take him out. I'm going to take this. Okay. Lived in a farmhouse that kept hearing knocking at my door. That's a poltergeist. Do you understand? That is what's known as a poltergeist. Now, depending on how many times it knocks, there's a difference in the meaning. But a poltergeist would do that. Okay, and then when you went down, there was nothing, and you walk away, and he goes again. Okay? I'll give you a little bit of an advice, though. Okay? 2 knocks, don't answer. 3 knocks, you're okay.
Sorry, it was the what? 1 knock?
2 knocks, don't answer.
2 knocks, don't answer.
3 knocks, you're okay.
What if it's just 1?
Well, if it's 1, it still answers on a odd. You just wait for the next thing.
Oh, I see.
Just wait. Okay? That's a poltergeist.
And we have another question from Vasu.
Hi.
Vasu.
Yeah.
They say, hi, I was wondering if you could comment on the Dark Night of the Soul and how to cope.
Kali Yuga. Dark Night of the Soul. The Dark Night of the Soul is a it's a phase, and it's a phase that is nothing and all things simultaneously. It's where everything is formed and you have an opportunity. And that's where we're in now, I believe, Kali Yuga. So it's almost like a happening before the happening and after the happening. So it's really hard to just say in a little bit of time, but what I can tell you is this. If you're learning about Kali Yuga, which is something I would think that you would know a little bit about, this is an opportunity. This is an opportunity for you to drop every bit of karma that you can. It is an opportunity for you to exit off of that whole what goes around comes around. You have an opportunity to not build karma and work out all karma simultaneously so that you can be made new. It's dark before the dawn. Yeah, that works.
Is this part of a season, moon?
No, it's not a moon. It's a season. I said it's a phase.
Oh, okay. A phase, sorry.
It's like a phase of life, a phase of all life. A phase of the life of man, as a matter of fact. Man, woman. I hope that helps you out. It's the doorway, but more than just a doorway. It's a doorway. Jeez, I haven't been asked about Kali Yuga in a long time. Yeah.
She asks, does everyone go through it?
Everyone has to go through it. All of us do.
How do we know if we're in it?
You can tell. It's almost like everything is stripped away.
So it's like a Saturnian initiation.
No, that's different.
Different.
Saturnian initiation is totally different. So Kali Yuga doesn't have anything to do with negative things or positive things. It has to do with the culmination or the non-existence of either. It's like a spacewalk, not even a walk.
Oh, yeah, you've talked about that. That's right.
Yeah, it's we all have to go through that. That's a doorway we all go through. Whether or not you're aware of it is what you're looking at. So, if you're asking about it, probably you're going through some part of it. You'll know. By the time you hit the other side, everything will be made new. We all get that opportunity to make things new. Hope that helps you. What are you typing? What are you typing?
That you would like to show Hiroshi. And Vasu says, can you comment on coping up with it techniques?
Discipline. Discipline. Discipline, meditation. Discipline, meditation, doing the things that are in front of you to do. Stay grounded. Old saying. And this applies here too. Before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. Whatever you do, remain grounded. Okay? If you need to talk to me from time to time, I am available. Okay? And, you know, perhaps you and I should Skype again.
Cool. Barbara Flag says, in regards to the knocks she heard in the middle of the night, that it was like 3 or 4 times in the middle of the night.
Yeah. Poltergeist. You must have forgotten something.
3 or 4 times.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
more likely, it was more likely 3 times. Yeah. She must have either you forgot something, or something was happening that you needed to be awake for. You know, it usually happens that way. We have been tricked into believing that poltergeists are all very foreboding and, you know, very evil, and they're not. You know, that they might turn into a skeleton or some force that wraps your braces around your whole body and stuff like that. It doesn't work that way. Pay attention. If you hear the 4 knocks, listen to the tone of the knocks. Count the numbers. It may have even been someone that accidentally knocked on the wrong door thinking that someone else was inside. I don't mean a physical being.
Oh, I was like, wait, what? In the middle of the night? You call the cops.
Yeah, not a physical being. I mean a spiritual entity, maybe knocking. Depending upon the level of energy, it could just be, again, noisy ghost, poltergeist. What are you doing?
Remembering that phrase, Kali Yuga.
I've told you about it before.
Yes, I know. But
okay.
If I don't write it out, I don't remember these things. You know, me and my memory.
Yeah. What memory?
What? Exactly.
Okay, what else have you got?
That's it.
Is that it? What time is it?
9:05.
Oh my goodness. Look at that.
Oh, Vasu says, thank you very much. I understand. My family does not understand.
Oh.
Bummer.
They don't understand what you're going through? Or understand about Kali Yuga?
I guess we'll wait for a response.
Yeah.
Karen Rideout says, not sure if this is where I type it, but I'm having a brain procedure soon. Any thoughts on the outcome?
I think it would be best for you to not think about it. Okay? Don't worry about things. Alright? Because you're asking me whether or not you're going to be okay. And I think it would be best, since you know that you're having this brain procedure, for you to do what you know to do. Okay? Be okay. And then, if you need some help with healing, give me a call once it's done.
Yeah, he can speed up the process, is what he's not telling you. Vasu says about what I'm going through. She prefers not to tell her family. They're like, you're going crazy.
Okay. Well, you and I can talk at some point. I know what you're going through. So, as for the person going through the brain procedure, just give me a call later, okay? Alright, is there anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay. I would like to thank you all for joining us this evening, and I hope that you all are benefiting from the show and from the knowledge that I am giving to you all. I love doing this. If you have any questions whatsoever, and you're interested in taking classes from me, because I do teach, and my forte is psychic development and psychic self-defense. So if you are looking to develop a talent or develop a gift, develop your intuition, I'm your guy. And if you're also looking to protect yourself and your family psychically, we can do that as well. Okay? As a matter of fact, I offer psychic self-defense to all of my students. However, I do not teach for free. This is my profession. It is not my hobby. I offer this particular show and this service so that you can all have access to some learning. Okay? I can be reached at, you can always find out about classes at www.asktheunicorn.com and also www.unicorn-cove.com. And I will be happy to work out a schedule for you on Skype, on the internet, or in person if you are local.
Cool.
It doesn't matter where you are. If you have Skype, we can do our classes that way. For 6 weeks of class at a time, 2 classes per week, 1 hour per class. And by the time you are done with the session, you will have something viable to use. Okay? So, remember, it's about that time for people to start developing themselves intuitively. And it's also that time to start developing yourself psychically. Okay? Once again, thank you for joining us. Please tell your friends about the show. Tell everyone that you possibly can. And we will see you next week. Until then, remember what I said about racism. Do not tolerate it. Remember what I said about bullying. Do not tolerate it. Stand up for yourselves and stand up for your fellow persons.
We have some feedback.
Okay, what do you got?
Karen says, thank you. It could get more complicated than just one procedure. We do take prayer requests, Karen.
Yeah. Oh, I think she just made one.
Okay, there you go. And Ron St. Hilaire says, good show, thank you. Seth says, see you on the 20th. And Barbara says, great show.
Thank you all.
See you next week.
Awesome.
Great.
All right.
This is
Have a good week. Episode 51. I'll put it up.
December 17th, 2014. Timestamp.
Yeah. And have a good week. Unicorn out.